So this is actually like really insane. Never once in the history of gaming do I think that we've actually seen a price increase for a console later in its life cycle. Keep in mind, the PS5 has been out for 5 years already. It's not like it's early on in the generation. Like, we're close to the end. In 2 years, the PlayStation 6 is going to come out. So, it's wild then that they are actually raising the price of the PS5 console in a few select regions, not worldwide, not in the United States, and not in Asia, but in the United Kingdom, it's going to be £430, up from £389. So that's a $40 increase, or £40 increase, rather, I'm sorry. And then in Australia, it's going to go up from $649 to $749. Folks in the EU are also going to see a significant price increase. The PlayStation 5 is now going to be €499, up from €449. This is the digital version of the PS5, by the way. And from what I'm reading and from what I can tell, that it's not going to change. The price is not going to change for the physical PS5 as well as the PS5 Pro. Those prices will remain unchanged. It's just the cheapest model of the PS5 that is going to increase in price in those regions. And also New Zealand, it's going to go up to 859 New Zealand dollars. So, goddamn, that's just insane, because typically what you would expect is a price cut. That is exactly what happened with the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4, so, like, to see that is, like, I know things are insane right now with, well, inflation has kind of cooled off a little bit, but it's really the whole supply chain, the tariffs and everything just going crazy. I'm not necessarily sure how or why that is affecting the European market specifically, though, because no price increases have been announced for the US, and the US are the ones that are doing all the tariffs. So I'm not necessarily sure if tariffs are a reason for these price increases. I think it's just we're increasing the price because we can, kind of thing. Again, I'm not necessarily sure what the reasoning or justification is, because the article that I'm going to link below mentions tariffs, but again, I'm not sure how tariffs are relevant here, especially with the US not having a price increase of their own. Not to mention that the tariffs, when it comes to computer parts and semiconductors and like pretty much all electronics, those have been lifted. They are no longer in effect from the United States. So I don't know exactly what is happening here specifically. I think it's just a situation of Sony being like, well, we can get more money out of this, and we can justify it by saying, the global economy and the whole situation is tumultuous and not very stable, so we're going to use this opportunity to increase the prices. I guess so. I guess that's what's happening. And that's an interesting situation right now, because I think it's very telling as far as what the future holds as far as the PlayStation 6 is concerned. It's going to come out in 2027. Maybe it won't come out until 2028, but either way, like, it's very possible we're going to get a console that's going to launch at like $650, $700. It's insane, but that's the way things are headed. And it begs the question on whether or not, if that's going to affect sales. That's something that's obviously being discussed very heavily right now with the Switch 2, and there's a lot of online outrage regarding the pricing for not just the console itself, but the games. But if you've been part of the gaming community for even a very short time, the one thing that we all know, if you spend enough time, just reading forums and browsing Twitter and watching people's YouTube videos, it's very rare that online outrage actually translates into negative sales and actual boycotts of these products. It almost never happens. Like, people will bitch and complain and moan and whine all they want, but most of the time, when you see like all this overwhelming negative attention towards a gaming company, it doesn't actually do anything, and it doesn't really matter. Like, there's very few instances where people got pissed off online so much that it actually made a company change their policy. There's a very select handful of situations where I could say that actually happened. A few that pop up from the top of my head is the Star Wars Battlefront 2 fiasco with the loot boxes. Another one was the PSN account requirement for PC. And I'm sure there's a couple other ones that people in the comment section are going to mention, but I don't necessarily think that the Switch 2 or even the PS5 during the end of its life cycle is going to be affected very negatively by these price increases and these high prices. I just don't see it. Like, sure, is there going to be some effect? Maybe, but their whole mentality and their way of thinking is that they're going to make more money by their dedicated fans or people who really want the console and the games. They're going to be paying that extra price, and it's going to make up for all the potential lost customers and lost sales. So, I don't know. It's a fucked up situation, the way things are going on right now in gaming, but I don't think the price increases are going to matter as much as people think they are. It's like, oh, boycott Sony, boycott Nintendo, boycott all these companies. It's like when we went from $60 to $70 games, people didn't even bat an eye. And I think, yeah, even Nintendo going from 70 to 80 is not going to matter. And these consoles just overnight going up in price for, like, I think it's like 10% in these regions. People are still willing to pay these prices at the end of the day. And that's what matters. And that's why they're doing it, because they know. So my suggestion is that if you're really unhappy about these prices going up, then don't buy this shit. I mean, if you're an existing PS5 user already, then it doesn't really matter, I guess, unless like your PS5 broke down and you want to get another one. But yeah, it's kind of like whatever at this point. It doesn't really affect most people, because I think most of the vast majority of people who want a PS5 already have one. And maybe that's another part of the calculation, because the PS5 is, it's, you know, there's not much life left in it. So this is like a last-ditch effort to squeeze as much money left as they possibly can. Let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about the PS5 going up in price 5 years after its release? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. But this is the world we're living in now.